Alright guys, welcome back to another week, and in this YouTube series I'm simply just documenting my day-to-day life as I try to make the most of this YouTube channel. And this week you'll notice a difference because it's going to have something that all the other videos are lacking, and I'm looking forward to how this video is going to turn out, and I'm hoping that you'll also enjoy it. But yeah, I will touch on more of that here shortly. It's Monday, we just got off work and we're headed home, and we'll talk shortly. Alright guys, so this week I'm going to show you guys how I prepare for a client shoot. I'm going to show you everything from the start to the finish, from the first phone call to how I prepare, how I decide what gear I need, and how I actually go about the shoot. I'll walk you through how I get to know the client, the questions that I ask on the phone call, and how I decide which equipment that I'm going to take to this shoot. Now, this client shoot isn't until Wednesday, so I'm going to give you guys some insight into my process, my thoughts, and my approach as we get closer to the shoot, and then I'll show you guys some behind the scenes and maybe some of the final products towards the end of this video. I will catch you guys tomorrow and tell you a little bit about the client that I'll be working with this week. Alright guys, happy Tuesday. It is almost 1 p.m. here and we are headed to go get some lunch. Boom, Chipotle ordered. Yeah, now that we've gotten lunch taken care of, let's talk about the first step of the process for a potential client, and that is going to be the call. And in this call, I have one main goal, and that is to answer really 3 important questions that really kind of help guide the rest of the conversation and help me decide if it's a project that I need to take and move forward with. And my first question that I ask is pretty straightforward, but it's, who is my client? Who am I going to be working with? Who am I going to be delivering work to? My next question is, what are they looking for? So what deliverables do they desire? Is it just photos? Is it videos? Are they wanting a short film? Is this going to be more of long form content, or is this going to be a one-time deal? And then lastly, this is really important for me as I decide if I'm going to take the project or not, but I want to know why they're wanting these deliverables. I want to know why they want this content. I want to know what their main driver is. Some people say, like, what's their why? It's maybe not always that deep or that emotional, but I do want to know the main motivation for that. Once I answer those questions, it leads to others. I always on this call like to get a feel for what their expectations are in regards to timeline, how many photos they're looking for, the types of videos. I also like to ask for references for work that they've seen that they like. I know that for myself, sometimes I know exactly what I want visually, but I have a hard time articulating that and making it clear. So I always just ask potential clients, hey, are there any people that you see online? Is there any inspiration that you're pulling from that I can reference? Again, that helps me make a more educated decision on, am I able to achieve what they're looking for? And those are most of the questions that I ask on the call. Obviously, there's other questions that I do ask. A lot of that is just feeling it out on the call. I try to keep them pretty short, pretty compact, as it's the first one. And I would say that one thing that I've learned just professionally, but also on the creative side of my business, soft skills are so important. And it's especially important in the creative side of business. I've been on plenty of shoots to watch other very skilled professionals who have wonderful soft skills. And I believe that having effective communication, clear communication is just as important as delivering the creative deliverables that people desire. Also, respect their time. I'm not trying to take too much of their time. I try to come prepared. I like to have questions written down on notes to give myself a little outline, and I make sure that I don't miss anything. I don't have to follow up with them after the call, and just be as professional as I can. So the call is extremely important. It's your first touch with this client. It's your first impression, and as somebody who believes that first impressions are extremely important, I take those first calls also very important and not lightly. But we're headed to Chipotle. We are crossing the Chattanooga River right now. I know you can't see it, but let's go pick up this Chipotle bowl, and I'll catch you here soon. Also, another thing that I forgot to mention is on this call, I ask a lot of questions about location, indoor, outdoor, is audio needed? And a lot of the reasons I ask those questions, as you probably can assume, is to get a good scope of the entire project and what I'm going to need gear-wise. The gear is going to change if it's weather dependent, if I have to worry about low light situations, if it's going to be super sunny, whatever it may be, if I'm going to be in really tight situation where I need a wide angle lens, or if I'm going to be on, maybe a football field to where I'm going to need a lens that has a little bit more reach. But I do always ask on the call where most of the video or photo is going to take place, just so I can have an idea of what gear that I'm going to need to bring. And I'll walk you guys through the gear that I'm obviously bringing for this shoot coming up here tomorrow. After the gym, I will tell you more about who this client is, the gear that we're going to be taking, and how I'm preparing for the shoot tomorrow. Talk to you guys later. Got back from the gym, had a really good leg day. I have a bit of jello legs right now. The split that I have, or the workout schedule that I'm on, goes right from either squats or leg press straight into leg raises. So by the time you finish those two sets, like, my quads are just absolutely fried, which is a good thing. But by the time I get to lunges, it's bad news. But we're about to head home. But before we do that, I wanted to tell you a little about who this client is. So this week's client is somewhat of a mutual friend, but most importantly, he is an athlete training for, I believe, a sub 250 marathon, which is really impressive. And he's also an endurance coach. Those descriptions right there give me enough to start thinking about the deliverables that he's looking for. I can now start looking for other people who create similar content, and now I'm starting to piece together some of his identity. Now, what is he looking for? It is pretty straightforward and pretty simple, but his main priority is photos, so that's going to be my main focus. And then he also mentioned to have a little bit of video, mostly some slow motion. And then he mentioned at the end of the call potentially filming a short documentary as he approaches his marathon, which is in here in the next couple months. But that's just kind of like a mention. We haven't really discussed that too in depth. Now, for his motivation, he's wanting to use this really kind of for two things. One, for his personal page. Now, he's not trying to become a content creator or anything, but he is one who wants to start creating somewhat of a page that has a little bit more of an aesthetic flair, and he wants to start posting more consistently. He's hoping, as he starts to build his Instagram page, hoping that he can attract more potential clients, more prospects that can turn into clients as he continues on coaching endurance endurance athletes. That gives us a lot of idea of the equipment. And for tomorrow, we are actually recording and taking photos of one of his track workouts. So with all of those questions now answered, I have a pretty good idea of the gear that I'm going to need, and we are headed home, and I'll show you the gear that I'm taking to tomorrow's track workout. Alright guys, so we made it back home, and now it's time to walk through the gear that I'll be using tomorrow for the shoot. First and foremost, the lens that I'll be using tomorrow is the lens that I use for every professional shoot, and that's the Tamron 35-150. I could talk on and on about how great this lens is. It's sharp, it performs well, it covers a wide variety of focal lengths, from 35 being wide enough to 150 to being plenty tight, and then with my ability to crop in, I can actually get even more punch with some video. So I'll continue to use this lens for all professional shoots, but it's something that I'll always take with me. Video is not a main focus. I'm not going to have a huge emphasis on audio, but I will be using the Comica VM2 wireless mic. This is also the microphone that I use for all professional shoots. It's great at picking up audio, and while I don't really need it for tomorrow, it's something that I just like to have as a backup. All of this is great, but it's useless if I don't have power. So I will be bringing batteries and plenty of them. I don't expect using more than one, but you never want to run out of batteries. So I'll be bringing spare batteries with me for this shoot. And lastly, I'll be bringing something that's definitely not necessary, but something that I think I'll end up using, and that is the small rig top handle. Now, this is something that I use when I have a full rig set up for my camera, but tomorrow, with it just being handheld, very straightforward, I don't see myself using it. But if I plan to do any shots where I'm running next to him and just want some more stability, I'll probably take this small handle out and end up rigging that on top of my camera. And then also, I can't show you because I'm recording with it now, but I shoot all my photos, all my video, and the video that you're seeing right now on the Sony a7 IV. It's a wonderful hybrid, and I'm extremely thankful for how powerful a tool it's been for me and giving me the ability to do a lot of work. That is everything that we have set up for tomorrow. That being said, I'm gonna hop on my computer and work on some edits really quick, hop in the shower, switch over my laundry, and then we will gear up, and we'll pick you guys up tomorrow. All right guys, happy Wednesday. We just got off work. It is 5 p.m. and it's time to head to the track. See you there. Too bad.
At the same time, get the concept.
Alright guys, so we just wrapped up the shoot. It was pretty straightforward. Yeah, and it went really well. Client was super easy to work with, super laid back, does a little bit of content himself, so he understands just the importance of shot variety, the importance of going back and doing another shot. Super cool guy, was well trained, so the workouts weren't killing him. But it is 6:30, so we wrapped that up in like 45 minutes. Something that I do try to be conscious of. Now, I'm somebody who's very trigger happy when I'm taking photos, but I end up taking too much of my client's time, and this is one where I probably was dipping into that, but was trying to definitely push it forward. So 45 minutes, not too bad. But yeah, overall, so far so good. Once we get home tonight, I'll sit down, look through some of the photos, look through some of the video. We took just a little bit as we talked about, and then should have the results back to him by this weekend. Anyways, we are headed to the gym. We have a back day on the agenda. So we'll start with some rows, but I'll catch you guys in there. Alright guys, so we just got back from the gym, and while I was working out, I was just kind of reflecting on the shoot and how things went. One thing that I was reflecting about and just felt like I should share is something that I try to do with my clients, especially first-time clients where I'm trying to put my best foot forward, to give them a little preview of the deliverables. So once we got finished with the shoot, I actually got in my car and just put my SD card in my computer, flipped through some of the photos, flipped through some of the videos, got about 15 photos together, slapped on a quick little preset, made a few adjustments, and sent that off to the client. Gives them a little peace of mind of knowing, hey, this is what the final product is potentially going to look like. You also did that very quickly. For first-time clients, I always try to give them a little preview as quick as possible just to kind of put my best foot forward with them. But we're about to sit down, edit a little bit, and then I'm going to go get some dinner and potentially get in bed early tonight. That's everything from the shoot. I'll wrap up everything tomorrow, do a quick little recap, and we'll close down this vlog. Alright guys, happy Thursday. This week has really flown by for me. I feel like it just was Monday just a day ago, but this is where we're going to close out the vlog. And this week, as you know, I just share with you my process from start to finish on how I prepare for a client shoot. Now, this wasn't a big production. It was, as you saw, very straightforward, pretty simple request, but almost every client that I work with, that's exactly how I handle them. It starts with inquiry, then into a phone call, to where we ask questions to get the details that we need in order to prepare well and decide if that's going to be a good fit for the both of us. And then we decide, what gear we need. And you saw how I decided on the gear depending on the needs of the shoot, the location, the lighting situation, and how much audio we have to cover. And then you saw little tips and tricks of, how I put my best foot forward with first-time clients on, quick delivery, a quick little preview, and communication as that goes. But I hope that you guys enjoyed a little insight there. Again, I'm not a professional, but it's definitely something that I do on the side that does generate a little bit of income for myself, and it's worked for me so far. So if that was able to help, let me know down in the comments. If there's ways that you think I can improve this process, also let me know. But I really do appreciate you watching, especially if you've made it this far in the video. That's everything for this week. I will catch you guys next week. Thanks for watching.